Welcome to EchoTales drama. Today's story is a unique production crafted and narrated by our team specifically for you.
The hum of the car engine provided a low, vibrating bass to the chaotic energy radiating from the passenger seat. Inside the confined space of the vehicle, the air was thick with the scent of leather and the lingering, sharp tang of a night that had clearly spiraled out of control. The restless passenger. Kamiyar shifted restlessly, his movements erratic, his eyes bright with a manic, unfocused intensity. He leaned toward the driver, his voice cutting through the quiet cabin with a jarring, misplaced sense of pride. "I am a master's degree holder," he declared, his words slightly slurred but punctuated with a finger jab toward the ceiling. "MBA. Do you even know the meaning of MBA?" The doctor, gripping the steering wheel with white-knuckled patience, didn't answer. He kept his eyes fixed on the asphalt unfolding under the headlights. Kamiyar didn't need an answer. He was lost in the labyrinth of his own thoughts, weaving a web of family politics and impulsive desires. "Khavar is my cousin," he mused, his tone dropping into a conspiratorial whisper, "but I would still give preference to Kamiyar. If you see, it's not too late yet. I mean, there's still some time before the wedding, so..." He paused, the weight of his own suggestion hanging in the air like a physical object. He turned his head sharply toward the doctor. "Think about Kamiyar again. I've already thought it through. Answer me, doctor. I am asking you something." "Be quiet," the doctor snapped, his voice a low growl of exhausted restraint. "If I stay quiet, people won't stop talking." Kamiyar countered, his voice rising in an indignant crescendo. He gestured wildly at the empty streets passing by. "The public wants to know. Answer me, doctor." "What?" A foggy reality. A heavy silence followed, broken only by the rhythmic clicking of the turn signal. Kamiyar blinked, the fire in his eyes suddenly replaced by a glazed, bewildered look. The thread of his argument had vanished as quickly as it had appeared. "What do they need to know?" he drifted, his voice small. I forgot. What were we discussing?" The doctor sighed, a sound of pure weariness. "We're talking about something on which the future of the nation depended." Kamiyar waved a hand dismissively, a lopsided grin appearing on his face. Anyways, let it be. Let's focus on what we're talking about." He looked out the window, realizing for the first time that the landmarks were becoming familiar. "Where are we going?" "To drop you home," the doctor replied firmly. "No. I want to go to Ira's house," Kamiyar demanded, his body tensing again. "Doctor, turn the car, please." "Look, you're not in the right condition right now," the doctor said, his tone softened by a touch of professional concern. "We'll talk in the morning." "What's wrong with my condition?" Kamiyar's indignation flared back to life. He straightened his collar with trembling hands. "I am absolutely fine." "Really?" The promise of change. For a moment, the bravado slipped, revealing a raw, aching sincerity beneath the intoxication. Kamiyar's gaze softened as he looked at the dashboard, seeing a face that wasn't there. "I've changed," he whispered, his voice thick with emotion. "Only for Ira. I bothered her a lot. I know that. But now my wedding is happening with her. I will keep her happy. I won't annoy her anymore. And now, I've changed too." He let out a short, sudden bark of a laugh, a sound that bordered on the hysterical. He leaned closer to the doctor, peering at his profile in the dim light of the instrument panel. "Crazy," You resemble Ira's father. He reached out, his hand clumsily darting toward the doctor's face. Hey, the doctor shouted, swerving slightly as he batted the hand away. What nonsense are you doing? Sorry, Kamiyal muttered, recoiling into the upholstery, momentarily chastened. Sit quietly at the back, the doctor commanded, his patience finally snapping. Okay, sorry, Kamiyar murmured, sliding into the rear seat like a scolded child. The doctor adjusted his rearview mirror, his eyes hard. Be careful. If you say one more word. But Kamiyar's mind had already leaped to the next realization. He pressed his face against the cold glass of the rear window, watching the streetlights recede. Oh, right, I remember now, he called out, his voice echoing in the small space. This road goes back. Doctor, it won't work like this. The car slowed as it turned into a familiar driveway, but Kamiyar's mind was miles away, soaring on the wings of a newfound, alcohol-fueled ambition. He leaned forward, nearly toppling over the center console, his eyes wide with a visionary gleam. The political architect. Look, we have to make our own party, he whispered, the gravity of the idea weighing heavy on his tongue. We have to make our own political party, and I'll support you. But we have to do something big. His voice trailed off into a pensive mumble as the car came to a complete halt. He looked out the window, blinking at the wrought iron gates and the manicured lawn. Where are we going? We've reached your house, the doctor stated, his voice flat with relief. He stepped out and opened the passenger door, the cool night air rushing into the cabin. Kamiyar stumbled out, squinting at the looming structure of his own home as if seeing it for the first time. Wow, doctor, what a house. It's a big house. He turned back to the car, gesturing for the doctor to join him. Come on, get off. This is your house, the doctor corrected, placing a firm hand on Kamiyar's shoulder to steady him. Now, get off. Kamiyar let out a dry, knowing chuckle. How? It's a technical job, getting out of here. The new administration. The house guards, alerted by the idling engine and the muffled shouting, approached the vehicle. Get him out, the doctor directed. Kamiyar recoiled as the guards reached for his arms. Hey! Oh man, who are you guys? Sir, we are the guards, one replied, his tone practiced and neutral. Very good. Kamiyar beamed, suddenly imperial. He straightened his rumpled shirt and looked the men in the eye. Look, listen to me very carefully. I am making a political party, and this doctor here will be its chairperson. Both of you will have very important responsibilities. Understood? Okay, sir, the guards muttered, exchanging a weary glance before hoisting him toward the entrance. Okay. Kamiyar kept checking, his voice fading as they led him away. Suddenly, he wrenched himself free for a moment, spinning back toward the doctor. Wait. Stop. Take me to the doctor again. He lunged forward, wrapping the doctor in a clumsy, suffocating embrace. I love you, he cried out into the night. You are the best father in the world. Go to sleep now, the doctor sighed, gently disentangling himself. Okay, let's go now. Okay. Good night. Kamiyar finally relented, allowing the guards to guide his staggering frame through the front doors. The morning after, quiet tension. The scene shifts with the harsh clarity of morning light filtering through the windows of Ira's family home. The frantic energy of the previous night is replaced by the mundane clatter of breakfast dishes and the soft hum of a household waking up. Ira sat at the table, her thumb rhythmically scrolling through her phone, her expression a mask of quiet anxiety. Her mother moved gracefully around the kitchen, setting down a plate of breakfast. Ira, her mother prompted. Your exams are over now, right? Yes, Ira replied, her voice soft, barely looking up from her screen. When does the university close? It's just the last week, Mom. Ira's eyes drifted toward the empty chair at the head of the table. Okay, but where is Dad? Her mother paused, a flicker of confusion crossing her face. There must have been some emergency last night. He went there. I think he still hasn't woken up. Emergency at the clinic? Ira asked, her brow furrowing. Yes, I don't really understand either, her mother admitted, pouring a cup of tea. Someone from the hospital came to take him. She sat down across from her daughter, her gaze turning pointed. Okay, now have your breakfast in peace. You were using your phone just now anyway. It's a different matter that Kamyar isn't picking up your calls. Ira froze, the silence in the room suddenly feeling very heavy. The morning air in the household was thick with the frantic, restless energy of wedding preparations, yet beneath the surface, a cold current of unease was beginning to flow. The weight of the wedding. Ira sighed, looking down at her silent phone as the weight of the upcoming nuptials pressed in on her. Brother Kamyar. She muttered under her breath, a mix of affection and exhaustion in her voice. Your wedding is coming up. Can this childish behavior just stop? It's almost over. She turned her attention to her brother, Nadir, who was hurriedly finishing his tea. And Nadir, when Dad goes to the hospital, take me along. I need to go to the tailor and the jeweler. Okay. Her mother paced the kitchen, her mind a checklist of unfinished tasks. There's so little time left, she fretted, her voice rising with anxiety. How will we get everything done? It'll happen, Mom, Nadir insisted, trying to inject some calm into the room. No, it won't, she snapped back, the stress of a looming Pakistani wedding evident in her sharp tone. I'm really stressed. Nadir grabbed his keys, looking at Ira. Do you have to go to the university? I'll drop you off. Okay, Ira agreed, grabbing her bag. But as they headed for the door, their mother called out, Where are you going? I told you yesterday. Nadir reminded her. We need to go to the tailor and pick up the jewelry. Yes, she replied, her mind shifting gears. Do one thing, just go there directly. I'll transfer the money. But you also had to finalize the lights and catering. What about that? Don't worry, I'll take care of everything, Nadir promised, heading for the driveway. I'm waiting for you in the car, Ira. The shadow in the room. As Ira prepared to leave, she noticed her father. He was a man usually defined by his professional composure, but today he looked brittle. At least have breakfast, she urged, but her father barely looked at the plate. A heavy silence hung around him. Ira pulled her mother aside. Has something happened to Dad? I don't know, her mother whispered, her eyes full of worry. He's been really quiet since last night. Even when he came back, he didn't talk to me. And look, he hasn't even had breakfast yet. All right, Ira said, trying to stay practical. Me and Nadir will go. We'll drop him lunch at the clinic later. Okay. Anyway, just go, her mother said, ushering her out. Nadir must be in a hurry. A father's doubt. A few moments later, Ira found herself alone with her father before stepping out. The air between them was heavy, the unspoken events of the previous night, the doctor's encounter with the drunken, rambling Kamiyar, lingering like a ghost. "Dad," Ira started softly, "Mom was saying that there was some emergency at the clinic last night." "Yes," he replied, his voice distant, avoiding her eyes. "There was an emergency. Is everything okay now?" "Yes, yes. They've just kept him in the CCU for monitoring." He finally looked at her, his gaze searching. "You got in really late last night. Are you okay, Dad? Is something bothering you?" The doctor hesitated. He could still hear Kamiyar's slurred voice proclaiming himself a master's degree holder while stumbling into the night. He looked at his daughter, bright, hopeful, and standing on the precipice of a lifelong commitment. "No, dear," he said finally, his voice trembling slightly. "It's just. I just wanted to know, are you happy?" Ira paused, caught off guard by the gravity of the question. "I mean, are you happy with Kamiyar?" her father pressed. "He has changed." Ira offered a reassuring, if slightly forced, smile. "Yes, Dad, I am happy. Yes, Kamiyar has changed. I have no complaints about him." She tilted her head, sensing the hidden depth of his concern. "But why are you asking?" "What do you mean, why?" he countered quickly, trying to mask his turmoil. "Just like that. Have you had any talks with him recently? Did he say anything to you?" The doctor quickly looked away, the image of Kamiyar's drunken face in the car window flashing before his eyes like a warning light. He forced a strained smile, trying to smooth over the cracks in his composure. "No, dear, no, nothing happened," he said, his voice a fraction too quick. "I just wanted to ask casually." The silence of a phone. At the university, the morning sun beat down on the campus courtyard, but for Ira, the atmosphere felt chilled. She stared at her phone screen, still dark, still silent. Beside her, a friend watched the growing anxiety etched into Ira's features. "Maybe he's busy somewhere," her friend suggested, trying to be the voice of reason. "Has he been busy since yesterday evening?" Ira's voice was tight with frustration. "He's never done this before. He always calls." "Do you have the number of anyone from his family?" "If I did, I would have already called," Ira snapped, her nerves frayed. "I'm starting to get worried. Something feels off." Her friend let out a short, cynical laugh. "Anyway, you don't need to worry so much about Kamiyar. What can anyone do to him? On the contrary, you should be worried whether he's messed anything up for someone else." Ira turned a sharp, icy gaze toward her. "If you don't have any useful advice to give, then don't give any." "Okay, sorry." "Sorry." Her friend held up her hands in a peace offering. "Listen to me, if you don't have the number of anyone from his family, then there's only one option left, you'll have to go there yourself." Ira's eyes widened in scandalized shock. "To my in-laws' house? What will they say if I just show up like this? There are only a few days left until the wedding. Now that you've chosen love, you'll have to put aside what people will say," her friend countered with a shrug. "And looking at your condition, this pacing, this worrying, I don't think we have any other option." "And why would you go alone?" "I'll come with you." "You'll come with me?" Ira hesitated, the breach of etiquette warring with her desperation. "That would look even stranger." "Come on, let's go," her friend insisted, standing up and dusting off her clothes. "Anyway, What are we even doing here at the university? We are just sitting around doing nothing. Let's go. Echoes of the night. As Ira made her way toward a confrontation she wasn't prepared for, Kamyar was trapped in the hazy, painful aftermath of his choices. The memory of the previous night played back in fragmented, jarring bursts, the doctor's stern face behind the veil, his own slurred shouting, the humiliation of being handed over to the guards like a piece of luggage. "Hello, uncle," he had shouted in his stupor. "Where is Ira?" The doctor's voice had been like ice. "Kamyar, go home." "Hey, what's wrong with you?" he had pushed, leaning into the doctor's space. Her father, "Hey. What nonsense are you doing?" The shame of it hit him as he reached for his phone on the bedside table. The screen illuminated, revealing a devastating tally, 36 missed calls. The weight of the impending disaster settled in his stomach. Just as he was processing the digital evidence of his disappearance, the phone began to vibrate in his hand. Ira was calling again. He cleared his throat, trying to summon a shred of the master's degree holder confidence he had boasted about the night before. He swiped to answer. "Hey cutie," he began, his voice gravelly and forced. "What happened? What do you want?" On the other end of the line, Ira's voice was a sharp contrast, cold, sharp, and demanding. "Are you awake? What happened last night?" Kamyar closed his eyes, the sunlight in the room suddenly too bright. "What do you mean, what happened?" he asked, playing for time as the walls of his carefully constructed, changed man persona began to crumble. The room was spinning as Kamyar gripped the phone, the sunlight piercing through the curtains like needles. On the other end, Faria's voice was a jagged reminder of a night he wished was a blank slate. The fog of regret. "I mean, what happened last night?" Kamyar pressed, his voice dropping to a desperate, hoarse whisper. "Last night, after a long time, you were really enjoying yourself at the party." "Faria, look." He stammered, his mind racing to fill the gaps. "Tell me clearly. What exactly do you want me to say?" "Look, I don't remember anything." A sharp, mocking laugh came through the speaker. "Of course, you're hungover. You'll soon remember." "Are you crazy?" Kamyar hissed, the dread beginning to pool in his chest. "I know. Look. I want to know. I feel like I met Ira's father last night." "Of course, you met him," Faria replied casually, the nonchalance in her voice making his blood run cold. I mean, last night you partied a lot, you really enjoyed yourself," she explained, twisting the metaphorical knife. "Then, when we were finally dropping you home after your stubbornness, you said we should drop you at Ira's house. Honestly, we really tried to stop you, but you know what you are like when you insist on something. So, we just dropped you outside her house. Are you out of your mind?" Kamyar roared, clutching his head as the image of the doctor's stern, judging face crystallized in his memory. "What was the need to drop me there?" Faria's voice turned cold, stripped of its playfulness. "If I hadn't, would you ever have even spoken to me?" The concerned household. Across the city, in the sprawling, opulent halls of Kamyar's family home, the afternoon sun was already beginning to dip. The staff moved with quiet efficiency, but a ripple of domestic tension was spreading. "I am coming outside." Kamyar's mother, a woman of practiced poise, called out to the maid. "Sajida." "Yes, ma'am." "Where is Chiku's food?" she asked, referring to the family pet. "Let me bring it," Sajida replied hurriedly, but the mother's eyes landed on a side table. Hey! The coffee is still lying here. Didn't you give it to sir? I sent it twice, the maid defended herself, but he didn't even open the door. Kamiyar's sister approached, her face etched with a concern that couldn't be easily brushed aside. Then why worry? He must be tired, that's why he's sleeping so long. Mom, it's already 4 p.m., she countered, her voice rising. Where could he be sleeping for so long? You know very well he's not like he used to be. He must have worked really late, that's why he's sleeping this long. Leave it, the mother said, though her hands fidgeted with her dupatta. I don't understand, the sister continued, pacing the foyer. Sohail has called 2 or 3 times from the office. And yesterday evening, he left the office early. Then the guards told me that he came home really late at night. And someone unknown brought him home. An unexpected arrival. The heavy front doors opened, and the conversation died in the throats of the 2 women. Standing there, looking small and deeply uncomfortable, was Ira. Hey dear. Ira. Come. The mother exclaimed, her social mask snapping back into place instantly. Greetings. Ira said, her voice barely a whisper, her fingers twisting the strap of her bag. Greetings. Greetings to you too. Sorry, Auntie, Ira apologized, her face flushing with the breach of Pakistani social decorum. I really shouldn't have come like this. No, it's absolutely fine, the mother lied smoothly, her eyes darting to the sister. It's just that I wasn't expecting you. I am just a little surprised. Please, come, please come. Sit. She gestured toward the plush sofas, noticing the fluffy cat darting across the marble floor. That's our cat, she noted absently. Ira stepped further into the room, revealing her companion. This is my friend, Naveen. Oh. Nice to meet you, dear, the mother said, though her mind was clearly elsewhere, wondering exactly how much Ira knew about the unknown person who had delivered her son home in the dead of night. The tension in the grand living room was palpable, masked only by the thin veil of formal hospitality. Kamiyar's mother leaned forward, her eyes scanning Ira's face for any hint of the truth. Please, sit, she urged, her voice dipping into a motherly concern. Is everything all right? Ira, is everything all right? Ira shifted on the edge of the plush sofa, her fingers tight around her handbag. Yes. Actually, Kamiyar wasn't picking up his phone, so I got a little worried. Is he feeling okay? Yes, he should be fine, the mother replied, though her glance toward the staircase betrayed her own unease. He just hasn't opened his door since morning. I guess he's still sleeping. She let out a soft, dismissive laugh to lighten the mood. Look at him, he unnecessarily worried the child. You go to his room and check on him yourself. Maybe gently pull his ears for making you come all this way. She turned to a domestic worker standing nearby. Nawaz, take ma'am along and show her Sir Kamiyar's room. Please, come, Nawaz gestured toward the wide, carpeted stairs. As Ira stood to follow, the mother turned her attention to Naveen. Dear, would you like anything to eat or drink? No, thank you. Naveen replied, her eyes following the family pet as it slunk across the room. What is your cat's name? Chiku, the mother answered, her smile polite but strained as Ira disappeared from view. The confrontation. The door to Kamiyar's room creaked open, admitting a sliver of hallway light into the darkened chamber. Kamiyar was sitting on the edge of his bed, head in his hands, looking every bit like a man haunted by the previous night's ghosts. He looked up, his eyes widening in a mixture of shock and terror as he saw Ira standing in the doorway. "You," he gasped, scrambling to his feet. "What are you doing here?" He moved toward her, his voice a frantic whisper. "Are you fine? Has anyone said anything to you?" "I didn't call you, did I?" he continued, his hands hovering as if to check her for injuries. "Are you fine?" "Yes, I'm feeling fine," Ira said, her voice dripping with an icy, controlled fury. "What was going to happen to me? The question is, why weren't you picking up my calls? Why didn't you answer me? You didn't pick up all night, and I was calling all morning too. Why?" Kamyar looked away, the guilt washing over him like a physical tide. "Yes, sorry. My phone was on silent. I didn't even realize. I was asleep. I didn't know your calls were coming. You were sleeping," Ira countered, her disbelief sharp enough to cut. "Who sleeps that long?" "I wasn't feeling well, I swear," he insisted, his voice cracking. "Granny and everyone kept calling me," Ira said, ignoring his excuse. "And when I just asked how you were, you said you were fine. Have you started going to parties again?" No, not at all," he lied, his heart hammering against his ribs. "Granny just sent me upstairs," Ira continued, her voice rising with the absurdity of the situation. "There's all this drama happening in front of her. How long has it been since our wedding was fixed? And here I am, coming to my in-laws' house just to track down my to-be husband. Don't you feel any shame at all? What must your mother be thinking right now?" A desperate piece. Kamyar stepped closer, his demeanor shifting from defensive to pleading. The arrogance of the MBA holder was nowhere to be found. In its place was a man terrified of losing the only anchor he had. "Forget her," he whispered, reaching for Ira's hand. "I care about you. I don't feel good making you angry like this. I am sorry. I have even ruined your mood." He looked into her eyes, his expression a mask of desperate sincerity. "I promise, I won't do it again." "Then why did you make me angry?" Ira asked, though the fire in her voice was beginning to settle into a dull ache. "It's the last time," he promised. "I made a mistake and didn't pick up anyone's calls. I don't know. I wasn't feeling well, so I overslept. I took some medicine. But I'll make it up to you, I promise." He stood there in the dim light, a man caught between the truth of his past and the fragile promise of his future, watching Ira to see if his words were enough to bridge the growing chasm between them. The air in the bedroom, once stifling with the scent of Kamyar's morning after regret, suddenly shifted as he doubled down on his pleas. He stood before Ira, his posture slumped, stripped of the bravado he had worn like armor just 24 hours prior. "I promise," he whispered, his voice cracking with a desperate sort of sincerity. "And it won't happen next time." Ira looked at him, her eyes tracing the exhaustion in his face. She wasn't entirely convinced, but the weight of their upcoming life together pulled at her. "Please. Naveen is with me too," she said, her voice regaining its steady, maternal firmness. "I'm going home with her." "All right, I'll go with you to drop you home," Kamyar insisted, eager to bridge the distance. He reached out, his touch tentative. "Please forgive me. I'm really sorry. It happened for the first and last time. I will never do it again. I promise." "Promise?" Ira asked, the word hanging between them like a fragile glass thread. If it happens again, no one will be worse off than me, he vowed, regaining a flicker of his old intensity. It won't happen again. Next time, if it does happen, you should come to my house. When you come home. Next time. Ira interrupted, her brow furrowing with sudden suspicion. What do you mean by next time? You mean it will happen again? No, no. It won't happen again, Kamyar corrected himself quickly, stumbling over his words. And even if it did, Ira countered, her voice sharpening, am I free enough to come over every single time? I'm telling you, this was the last time. I know, Kamyar said, raising his hands in surrender. Look, after this phone will never be silent again. That's it. Cutie, shall we go? The awkward departure. As they descended the stairs and reunited with Naveen in the grand foyer, Kamyar's social mask slipped back on, though it sat crookedly. He glanced at Naveen, then back to Ira. And she, do we need to drop her off too? He asked, his tone bordering on dismissive. I have a car, I can go by myself, Naveen replied coolly, having witnessed enough of the drama for one afternoon. Good. Let's go, Kamyar muttered to Ira, though his voice was loud enough for Naveen to hear. Why does she always stay with you? Will she come with you in the dowry too? Ira's face burned with embarrassment. She grabbed Naveen's arm, steering her toward the door. Come, please. He is joking. Yes, I'm just joking. Kamyar added with a hollow laugh, trying to play the part of the charming fiancé. He has a really good heart, honestly. The doctor's cold truth. The narrative shifts to the sterile, quiet atmosphere of the doctor's office. The reconciliation at the house had been a temporary balm, but the true confrontation was waiting for Kamyar at the clinic. He stood before Ira's father, the man who had seen him at his absolute worst the night before. I am sorry, but you are so unpredictable, the doctor said, his voice low and dangerous. He didn't look up from his desk. Like, tomorrow, you might say that you don't even know Ira and take your daughter away. Then I won't be able to do anything about it, right? Uncle, believe me, I didn't do anything deliberately, Kamyar pleaded, his hands trembling. I honestly don't even remember much. Please. The doctor finally looked up, his eyes hard and judgmental. Please, Kamyar, don't say that you don't even remember anything. You should have seen your own condition. Is this the change in you? Okay, I'm not saying I don't remember anything, Kamyar admitted, shrinking under the gaze. I remember a little. I remember you, but... Uncle, don't say that I haven't changed. I've made a mistake, and I fully admit it. And that's why I came to apologize to you. The doctor let out a short, mirthless laugh. You were forming a political party. You were planning to put me up in the elections. Oh, the things you said. Kamyar's face went pale. Uncle, I have no connection with any political party. I'm just a businessman. The doctor leaned forward, the shadows of the office deepening the lines on his face. Kamyar, listen to one thing very carefully. Yes. I haven't mentioned this to anyone at home, the doctor whispered, the weight of the secret hanging heavy in the air. Only because Ira respects you deeply. It would hurt her a lot to know the man she loves was a rambling drunk in the back of my car. The atmosphere in the doctor's office was suffocating, the hum of the air conditioner the only sound in the tense silence. Kamyar stood before Ira's father, his hands clasped tight, his voice a strained mixture of desperation and defense. And I love Ira very much, Kamyar pleaded, his eyes searching the doctor's stone-cold expression. But I honestly don't understand what you want from me, dear uncle. The doctor looked up, his gaze cutting. Do you expect me to put my daughter's future at stake? Uncle, if you didn't trust me, you would have already told Ira everything and called off the wedding by now, Kamyar countered, a flicker of his old boldness returning. You do trust me. I can do anything, but I cannot lie. And still, I swear on Ira, I didn't do anything intentionally. He leaned closer, the memory of the night before finally beginning to surface in painful, blurry fragments. My friends invited me to throw my wedding party. I didn't want to go, but I couldn't refuse them. I remember going to that party. I remember you a little as well. But beyond that, I don't remember anything at all. He raised his hand as if taking a solemn oath. I swear, uncle, nothing like this will ever happen again. The doctor let out a dry, cynical sigh. Yes, yes, you are like an innocent child. Naive. He leaned back in his leather chair, shaking his head slowly. I am sorry, Kamyar, but really, my heart doesn't accept your words at all. Please, uncle, trust me. Kamyar's voice was nearly a sob. I've rebuilt myself with great difficulty. I admit I have many flaws, but I'll fix those too. If you say so, I'll tell Ira everything myself right now. There is no need to, the doctor snapped, his protective instinct flaring. There's no need to say anything. It will only upset her unnecessarily. But understand one thing clearly, Kamyar. He stood up, his presence looming over the desk. If my daughter is hurt because of you, I won't consider that she is your wife. Because she will always be my daughter first. The wedding countdown. The scene shifts to a balcony overlooking the city. 3 days. The countdown to the wedding was ticking away like a time bomb. Below, voices whispered in the shadows, fueled by the secrets of that fateful party. So what do we do now? One voice asked. What can we do except wait? Came the reply. You know, I'm surprised that Kamyar still hasn't reacted at all. When is his wedding? In 3 days. Suddenly, the conversation was cut short by a sharp movement. Kamyar. What? Go inside now, someone hissed. Where did Kamyar come from all of a sudden? How would I know? Just go inside. Kamyar emerged from the shadows, his face a mask of simmering rage. He found Faria standing there, her expression unbothered, almost bored. You here? Kamyar asked, his voice low and dangerous. Faria tilted her head, a smirk playing on her lips. Your reaction has changed a lot. You don't usually react like this. If the relationship isn't the same anymore, how can the reaction stay the same? Kamyar spat. What happened last night? Faria laughed, a cold, melodic sound that grated on his nerves. You'd know that better than anyone. I'm not going to listen to nonsense, Faria, he warned, stepping into her personal space. Of course, she countered, her eyes flashing with a sudden, sharp clarity. So listen carefully to exactly what happened. You went to the party with us last night. At our insistence, you had 1 drink. And after doing whatever you wanted, who knows how many more you had after that. The shadows of the balcony seemed to stretch and twist, mirroring the turmoil in Kamyar's mind. Faria stood her ground, her voice dripping with a mixture of pity and malice that felt like a slow-acting poison. The brutal truth. You weren't in your senses at all, Faria continued, her words cutting through the cool evening air. And you being you. You were very drunk. Obviously, you weren't in control, and you did everything that could be expected of you. Kamyar's face paled, the fragments of the previous night threatening to cohere into a picture he wasn't ready to see. Then we put you in the car, she said, her tone offhand. You said you wanted to be dropped at Ira's house. You kept insisting, so we left you there. What happened after that? I don't know. Then why did you drop me at Ira's house? Kamyar's voice was a desperate, hollow rasp. Faria checked her watch, a cold, dismissive gesture. I guess time's up. That was all the time you had to talk to me. She turned on her heel, leaving him standing in the dark. As she walked away, a conspirator stepped out from the shadows. What was he saying? He had come to find himself, Faria replied with a sharp, cynical laugh. But he'll never be able to find himself. It's because this change was forced upon him. It isn't real. You're sure this plan will work, right? Yeah. Faria said, her confidence unshakable. I'm going inside to get my bag. A fragile sanctuary. Later that evening, the scene shifted to the quiet sanctuary of Kamyar's office. The harsh lights of the city were visible through the glass walls, but inside, the atmosphere was hushed. Ira stood by the desk, her presence a stark contrast to the chaos of Faria's words. I am sorry, Ira, Kamyar murmured, not looking at her. This won't happen again. Ira placed a hand on the desk, her voice soft with concern. If you are not feeling well, why are you still at the office? You should be resting. Kamyar finally looked up, and for a moment, the haunting shadows in his eyes vanished, replaced by a profound, almost desperate devotion. Yes, actually. I wasn't feeling well. But the moment I saw you, I felt better. He stood up, moving closer to her. You know, when you are with me, I don't feel anything else. It feels like everyone in this world is happy, like no one can ever be in pain. I'm telling you the truth. Ira's expression softened, but the memory of the 36 missed calls still lingered. Kamyar. I have never ever done anything like this for anyone. Please don't be this careless again. Never do this again. I'm sorry, he repeated, his voice thick with emotion. It will absolutely never happen again. It just happened this time, and I'm really sorry. The hypothetical fear. A heavy silence followed, one that Kamyar found he couldn't let sit. He needed to know the depth of the water he was treading. Okay, Ira. Can I ask you something? Go ahead, she said, watching him closely. If I... He hesitated, his heart hammering against his ribs. If you ever find out that I've become the way I used to be, how would you react? Ira didn't hesitate. I wouldn't let that happen. Yes, I know I'm not like that, he said, his voice rising slightly in a defensive pitch. But still. Let's suppose you find out that I did something you don't like, something wrong, and that I hid it from you. What would your reaction be? The air in the room seemed too still. Ira's gaze turned piercing, the warmth of a moment ago replaced by a sudden, sharp clarity. Is there something like that? No. Kamyar lied, the word coming out a fraction too fast. I haven't done anything like that. But still. For example. He left the sentence hanging, a ghost of a question floating between them, as he waited for an answer that would either offer him a way out or confirm his worst fears. The air in the office suddenly felt thin. Ira's gaze didn't waver. Her words were soft but carried the finality of a gavel. I would be very hurt, she said, the honesty in her eyes more terrifying to Kamyar than any shouting could be. I'd feel really bad. My feelings would be hurt, and I would leave you. The word leave echoed against the glass walls. Kamyar felt the precipice crumbling beneath him. He reached out, his voice a frantic tether. Look, I would never do anything like that. Every day I'll try to make myself better for you, for me, for us. I'm sorry again for the mistake I made. It won't happen again. Okay. Ira studied him, a flicker of suspicion crossing her face. Then why are you talking like this? Kamyar had no answer that didn't involve a confession, so he let the silence swallow the question. Bitter revelations. Elsewhere, the predatory calm of Faria's world remained undisturbed. She sat draped in elegance, looking up as a familiar face appeared. Hey you? You are still here, she asked, her voice laced with faint surprise. Didn't you have a flight? I had it delayed by a few days, came the reply. The tone was somber, carrying a weight that Faria found tedious. By the way, what you did with Ira wasn't right. What happened to me wasn't right either. Please say sorry to Ira on my behalf. I shouldn't have gone to her university. Faria offered a sharp, mirthless smile. Well, it's good that you've realized your mistake. Only people like us actually do. Anyways. She leaned back, her eyes gleaming with fresh venom. I looked into the guy Ira is getting married to. And what did you find out? Just this. Faria paused for dramatic effect. That along with your sister's mind, her taste is terrible too. Why would you like him anyway? I've heard what he did to you. She stood up, smoothing her dress with a bored sigh. And if there's nothing else important, I'm already very late. I should go now. Then go, the visitor replied. I had come just to meet Auntie anyway. I was missing her. The groom's grandeur. The narrative leaps forward into a whirlwind of silk, gold, and the frantic heartbeat of a wedding day. The house was a chaotic symphony of rustling heavy fabrics and the sharp scent of jasmine. This isn't the jewelry, a voice barked over the festive din. I already told you, it's in the left side drawer. Go and bring it quickly. Kamyar stepped into the center of the room, resplendent in his wedding attire. He adjusted his collar, looking at the faces of his family. Come on now. Let's go. What happened? Why are you all looking at me like that? All praise to God, his grandmother whispered, her eyes misty with pride. Livelong, congratulations, dear. Granny, I don't look bad, do I? Kamyar asked, a rare moment of vulnerability peeking through his groom's facade. No, no, you look very nice, she assured him, though she tilted her head. But why do you look so confused? No, I'm not confused, Kamyar admitted, a nervous laugh escaping him. Just nervous. It's my first marriage. This is all happening for the first time in my life. I don't know how to react. Your first marriage? Poor guy, a relative teased, sparking a brief moment of levity. Sir Kamyar, a servant interrupted, a new car has arrived. Okay, fine. Tell them I'm coming. Which new car? His grandmother asked. A flash of the old, flamboyant Kamyar returned. Since I burned Ira's car, I ordered her a new one as a gift. Good job, his father chimed in, his approval a rare and heavy gift. Well done. Very good. The house began to empty as the procession readied itself. Let's go now. Shall we? Kamya urged. You all go ahead, one of the women called out, hovering by the vanity. My jewelry and clutch are coming. I'll join you there. Come quickly, okay? Yes, I'm coming. Mavish. The doors swung open to the sound of waiting engines and the rhythmic beat of a dhol in the distance. The wedding was no longer a plan, it was a momentum that could not be stopped.